Welcome to the 5-Year-Old and Me Show. I'm Coco Brown, lifestyle diva and author of Mikasa Blurred Lines, Book 1. And I'm delighted to have the most important guest of all in my life, my mom, Adrienne D. Hennessy. Mom, tell me, what were you like when you were 5?
When I was 5?
Yes.
Gee, now I gotta remember a little bit. Oh, I was from what memory serves me, a quiet child.
Okay.
Not precocious like you were at 5. Uh, kind of shy
Okay.
and friendly but shy, I would say.
Okay. Okay. So, can you remember what you wanted to be when you were 5? Like, what did you say, or what age can you say you can remember?
Oh my goodness. I would say I was quite a bit more than 5 when I, decided or hoped to become someday. And I would say that maybe I was around 13.
Okay. And what did you want
I
to
was in
be?
junior high. I thought I'd like to be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any particular age group? Were little people, high school?
I really thought about high school.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was adventurous.
I would say so too, because in lieu of my personality, I should have probably been thinking more of elementary school. But I guess I thought high school because when I was in high school, that quiet nature was still within me. And I think I thought if I taught high school kids that if I saw some kids that were similar in personality, maybe I could draw them out just thinking about how things were for me.
Okay, that's cool. So, what prevented you from pursuing that?
Well, life, I would say, went to high school, graduated. I took a commercial course in high school,
Oh,
and it landed me a job through school.
Hmm.
I, got a job as a stenographer.
Okay. And what's that? For the people out here today that don't know
Yes,
anything.
because it is definitely a different world now. That's a form of shorthand.
Okay.
Well, in school there were 2 types of shorthand that you could learn: Pittman and Gregg.
Okay.
And so I took Gregg and decided. Well, I'm saying decided. It happened that I got a job as a stenographer and I was able to use that shorthand. I worked in the intake section of the St. Nicholas Welfare Center in Harlem for 6 years.
Okay.
And at that point in my life, I became with child and left that job to have my first child, which was my son.
Okay.
And during, I would say, like a 2 to 3 year hiatus, I babysat while my son was growing up,
Okay.
to a point where I felt like I could go back to work again.
And how did you find those children to babysit?
Through
Did you text a friend?
No, through my former job.
Oh, okay.
There were people that needed babysitters and that had become friends of mine while I was working.
Okay.
So I wound up taking care of a little girl for one of the coworkers, and then disabled challenged 2 children of another friend. a
Okay.
boy and a girl,
Wow.
and I babysat them for about 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
And a friend suggested I take the exam for the post office, and that was my next job.
Okay.
I worked in the post office as a clerk, and at some point, someone else told me about a transit exam that was coming up,
Okay.
and I took that one, and it was paying more.
Okay. Yes.
So
That was going to be my next question. What would make you leave the post office and go
yeah,
to transit? So,
yeah,
okay, more pay and you were ready to move on. Okay. So, during that time, did you feel like, oh, I could never be a teacher now? Or did you just, what were you thinking
just
at that time?
taking care of, because I didn't mention in between those times my daughter, you came along, and by that time I think just working the jobs that I had worked at just kind of put that aside in my mind. I just continued to work in the blue collar field,
Yeah.
and raising the kids, and teaching would have required me going back to school,
Right,
certainly.
right, yeah.
And just felt like at that time it wasn't an option.
Right, okay. Okay, so you started working for transit, and when you first started working for transit, you worked nights?
Yes,
Okay.
I worked what they call the graveyard shift, midnight to 8, or sometimes 10 to 6, or and other times 11 to 7. Those were those night hours,
Okay.
and I stayed working nights for almost 10 years.
Whoa, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you like take up karate or kung fu? What made you feel confident that you could walk the streets of New York City to get to work? What were you praying, or what were you
Oh
doing?
yes, yes. I had the Lord in my life all through, from before even I got into the work world. I have
Okay.
to say,
Okay.
I mean, I went through my times of, getting out of my teens and maybe doing a little partying.
Yes.
But however, Sunday morning, whether I was asleep on the pew, the next, after night being out Saturday night,
Right.
but I'd always find my way to church, and so God was in my life, and He was definitely my protector. I had a friend that during that night time, he gave me this weapon that to carry in my bag, and it was something similar to what the cops use, but you know, it was a nightstick
Okay, yes.
that could project
That
out.
retractable?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and I carried it around for a while, but the thing about it was, if anything had happened to me, by the time I got that piece out of my bag,
Right.
I'd probably be a goner. But God was with me all the way, as He is still today.
Yes, yes. So you survived the 10 years, you finally got to the day shift, and you said, what?
Well,
Hallelujah.
yes.
I have days now. I have weekends also. I just have days.
Well, no, yeah, in the beginning, with days, just days,
Okay.
because it took a little while longer to work up to those weekends.
Okay. So
But
seniority, right?
yes,
Okay.
indeed. But working days put me on a more normal kind of existence, I mean,
Okay.
because you could go to work in the daytime and come home and interact with your family.
Yes.
When I
Yes.
was working nights, I come home ready to sleep,
Right.
and with God's grace, I had a neighbor that was like a mom to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I could come home and sleep because I knew that she would, you know, help me get the kids where they needed to be, how they needed to look, and all that sort of thing.
Right.
And she was a godsend, and
Yes.
and her family was really became my family too.
Right. Right. So you felt a divine nudge, or you felt comfortable enough after meeting that family that you entrusted us to their care, to
Oh,
help.
oh yes.
Yeah.
In fact, we sort of moved into the building together, so we bonded from the
Okay.
time we came to that address.
All right. Okay. Okay. So you're moving along in transit, to different assignments, assignment that you prefer. And if I recall, you worked in the 181st Street area for the longest,
I did. I
right?
did. I worked. I worked at 181st Street for such a long period of time that not only did I get to know so many of the neighborhood people that became friends,
Mm-hmm.
and the station had a bingo parlor in the back, and the people back there, Spanish people that I loved, they bring me lunch. It, I could run back there if I had to leave the booth, go to the restroom. These kind
Yes.
of things
Yes.
that in transit became kind of a difficult situation in some stations.
Right.
And there was a newsstand right inside the turnstiles, and that guy would bring me papers,
Mm-hmm.
offer me candy. I became part of the furniture at that station, because I
Yes.
had been there so long, got to know everybody, and it was a good place to be.
Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your church home.
Oh, my church home, St. Augustine.
Yes.
St. Augustine School is where my children went,
Mhm.
and of
And how did you
course.
discover St. Augustine's? What made you choose St. Augustine's to be your
Okay, well,
church
when
home?
I moved on to Webster Avenue and into this apartment, which was my first real apartment, and it was a brand new apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then I would look for a church first, and
Mm-hmm.
that church that I wound up in wasn't the first church I went to, but the near church was 90%, I would say, Hispanic.
Okay.
So that made me kind of feel not the church I would belong to feel.
Okay.
So searched out, and some blocks away found St. Augustine,
Okay.
and the rest was history.
Okay.
It was,
Okay.
yeah,
So you went through those doors and you felt at home.
I did. I definitely did. I not
Okay.
only got involved with the church, as I said, my children wound up going to the school, and I wound up being in the church choir and quite a
Mhm.
few different organizations within the church.
Yes. Okay. So you became a part of the church community and you enjoyed singing.
Oh,
And
yes.
of course, you made sure we were in school. So dur- during all of that time, did Did you ever feel like moving from the area, or you felt like comfortable in the part of the Bronx that you were in, and you felt comfortable going to the church, and it just felt,
Comfortable in the beginning, but
okay.
as the years went on, you know, things got kind of really bad in the neighborhood. And yes, I wanted to move because I wound up being at that particular location for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's
Yes.
a lifetime for some.
Yes.
And the dichotomy of the neighborhood changed so greatly
Mm-hmm.
in, I would say, before I was there, half that time.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when I looked and the prices just seemed a little overwhelming as a single mom for me to handle.
Right.
And there were times when I thought, oh, gee, I have 3 sisters. Maybe we can get together and buy a house.
Right.
But those type of things, I think it takes a very committed and kind of special group of people to really make it work,
Right.
And so, for those reasons, we had our own families individually,
Yes.
and to really know that you could depend on everybody to do their part.
Mm-hmm.
That idea, left me after a
Right.
while,
Right. Yeah.
But yes, I did want to move after half that time that I'd been in the area. But I have to say this, as bad as things might have gotten, my daughter and my son, they managed to rise above the things that were going on. They never got involved in any of the crime or drugs or whatever was happening there. And it proves to me, not contrary to what many people will say, if you're in this, then you're going to get in this.
Right.
It's not. It's not true.
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
And I just say how proud I am of both my son and daughter for the strides that they've taken.
Thanks to you. Thanks to your love, your guidance, your instruction. What you provided for us within those walls was more than home. It was full of love, and we were safe with you, of course. Safe and well instructed, well loved, well guided. We had our faith, so we definitely benefited. Whatever was going on outside our door, our building, didn't affect what was in our home. And I thank you for that. So we have good life. You even sent me to Montessori in the building.
Oh, yes. ABC Montessori. Yeah.
And that was something special because it didn't seem like Montessori schools were generally in our neighborhoods. So it became like a elite kind of lofty thing, you go to Montessori. But I was like, oh, we had that.
That was a great program.
Yes. Yes.
Really gave children a foundation to go into school.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I'm thankful for that. Of course, you taught us at home anyway, our ABCs, 1, 2, 3. So we got down there and we knew, but it was also just nice to be around other little people. And it was good.
And I have to say that I was blessed though, because the family that I said that I embraced as family, my neighbor, I found other people along the way too that really helped to make a difference in my life and my children's, and that has to come from God.
Yes.
He was watching over us all the way. all the way.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So would you say that you during that time, do you feel like you were fulfilled, or did you feel like, okay, once I retire, I'm gonna do this, I'm going to, do something I wanted to do when I was younger?
Well, probably a little bit of both, because I would say the fulfillment part came from the really great people that I met while on the job. Uh, People that I still hold as friends to this day. And I've been retired for as long as I've worked.
Yes.
And, sometimes thinking back, there were times when I said, this job, oh, wow, it's dangerous, it's this, it's that. But it was putting bread and butter on the table.
And steak and potatoes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't have any regrets in that behalf.
Okay.
And of course, when I did retire, I was able to do some traveling.
Yes.
And that was really fulfilling.
Yes.
Too,
Yes. Yeah. So a fulfilled life, you have many friends, we have our family, of course. And during your travels, did you find that there were any hobbies or things that you explored during travel, or you just like to travel in general, just for the experience?
Yes, I would have to say the latter. I didn't really pick up any hobbies, but on some of the cruises that we had gone on, I got to do some talent show, things, and explore my music loving a little more.
Okay. Okay.
Although I love my singing in the choir, but I also love jazz, and so I could explore that part of it a little bit. Sarah, Dinah, Ella, I love them, and I loved singing their songs.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, I want to thank you for being a great guest, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, just kind of rapid fire.
Okay.
So, what's your favorite dish to make or to eat?
Favorite dish to make? Well, potato salad.
Okay. All right. And what's your favorite vacation destination?
The favorite of the places that I went to, I would say, was the Bahamas.
Okay. Okay. What's your favorite dessert?
Chocolate cake. Yellow cake with chocolate frosting.
And what would you say, and you can take a few minutes to answer this, what is the secret to a good life? As far as from your perspective, of course, whatever you found.
Okay.
Because now can we say how many decades you've been here, Mom?
Oh, definitely.
So
Definitely.
8 decades.
Yes.
And within those 8 decades, I know you've seen so much of the good, the bad,
and the ugly.
Yes, you've seen how things have changed. I mean, from when we had encyclopedias and we mainly read books, we had a television, but we didn't just watch our television, back when we were coming up. We used to play outside. We used to do so many different things, and you've seen from administrations, from, the cost of food, from the quality of food, from things like the pandemic occurring. What would you say is the secret to a good life? Or formula?
I'm thinking, as you were talking, how technology has taken us to great heights and has really added a lot to education in all areas. But there's a dark side to the technology too. And it's taken away people from being people.
Yeah. Right.
People are so technology, tech, that they almost don't want to speak to each other anymore. You know, they just text or email or whatever it is, you know. Um, that, I think, has taken away from the young what they used to have in just simple things like going out, jumping rope, playing ball, being, you know, friends, skating, loaning somebody your bicycle, and, you know, just little things like that. Yeah. So I would say, I think the young have missed out the most from these societal changes that technology brought about. But what I would say the secret would be to communicate, and treat others as you would like them to treat you. You know, not just love the people that you have to love, or the people that are so dear to you that you couldn't but love them, but try to extend that feeling to sometime the stranger that might need it, or the friends that you have. Don't take them for granted. Don't take anything for granted in life. Just be the best person that you can be to others. And that goes for your neighbors, the people beyond the circle of your family. Yeah. It's just as important to be loving, caring, compassionate.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for this great episode. Thank you for sharing so freely and openly.
It's been so nice being with you on this kind of way.
Yes.
So
thank you,
love
Mom.
You. Just gave me another reason to be proud of you.
Okay, thank you. And that's our episode.